All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And there's been some big money dropped on some ads. Some crazy money dropped on some ads. Some money that makes the spike of what usually happens in comparison to what is happening look like that giant tower in Dubai. You know what I'm saying? On the graph. It is literally some mind-bending amount of cash that is getting thrown into this election cycle, and I can't even wrap my head around it. So Cody's going to have to do it for us. Cody, what on earth is happening?
All right. So as you alluded to, yes. I mean, the holidays are coming up, so people are spending a lot of money in commercials anyway, but politicians definitely want your eyeballs to watch the commercials. So I'm going to show you, this is a cropped thing. Some of you guys might have seen this before, and I'll show you guys the expanded graph in a minute. But this is a graph charting how many individual times political ads are airing. The different colors you'll see represent different candidates. And again, I'll show you guys the full key in a second here. The reason why I wanted to show you guys this is because this is what it looks like this is what it looked like going up to about the middle point of November. I think November 20th is when everything changes. And I'm going to flip over to the full graph in a second so you guys can get an idea. But Cardin, take a look at this. Right? This is where we are up until November 20th, and this is the graph including everything today. So as you can see, again, getting into the colors, that green bar you saw filling it up mostly, that was Tom Steyer before. The gold bar is Michael Bloomberg, and this is probably one of the craziest. I mean,
there's more there than in the rest combined.
That's what I mean. When they, they do like by the numbers, like elections. If you want to do like 2020 Dem primary by the numbers, Michael Bloomberg outspending everyone on political ads by like magnitudes is probably the funniest one to me. I mean, look at that, man. Like
is this real life? I mean,
well, here's the other thing too.
This is what you see in a movie.
You know what's funny though?
Yeah.
Honestly, I definitely want to make sure I tell you guys this, but I wonder if, because I can tell myself, I didn't need to look this up. I was like, yeah, Michael Bloomberg spending so many money on. It is insane. I was in LA. What was it? Last Thursday, right? I'm standing on a street corner, and a taxi pulls up, and it stops at the red light at the corner. Yeah. And the taxi had a little video board on top of it, and it was running Michael Bloomberg ads. Oh. Like, you literally cannot escape the things. And we're in California. We're like a Super Tuesday state, but we're not like one of the primary political. Yeah. And you cannot escape these Bloomberg ads. So one thing I thought would be kind of funny is I wanted to run through, because not just Michale Bloomberg, you'll notice, and again, I want to show you guys.
Yang is barely a silver.
Yang, that being said.
I got that one. My cough button worked, just barely. But look, Yang is so it's not even a silver bar.
Yeah.
He looks like the Pleistocene era when there's a mudslide in California.
Okay, but relative.
And you could see like.
He's relatively, though, he's probably third or fourth, like maybe fourth or fifth overall on running money on that. It just Michael Bloomberg and Tom Steyer make everything look crazy, but the only other person really running ads on a regular basis is Bernie Sanders, and that's about it. I mean, a little bit from Buttigieg, but primarily what we're looking at
this is a Steyer and Bloomberg graph.
And who are the rich guys? Anyway,
Jeez.
Though, so this is what I want to do, though, because we're a little fun here for the holidays. You guys are probably going to be seeing these ads a lot of places, but I wanted to go through for every candidate, not every, but the 5 major candidates running political ads. I just pulled up their most recent ad. I was going to run through them, and we'll see what all this money's actually going towards, right? So here's the first one. We're going to start off with, this is Greatest by Andrew Yang. Here, I'll check this one out.
Social Security is a lifeline, but millions of seniors have to keep working just to get by. I'm Andrew Yang and I approve this message. My proposal, give every American 18 years or older $1,000 a month. That's in addition to current Social Security benefits, making it the largest increase seniors will receive in history. Big corporations make billions in profits while paying nothing in taxes. It's time to rewrite the rules to make them pay their fair share, so all Americans can have the future we deserve.
He lost me with that fair share garbage.
Oh my God, whatever. That being said, I thought
that's AOC stuff right there, man. No.
You are the most easily triggered person ever. If you hear a word you don't like to hear, you just immediately
nothing to do with him, huh?
On the full defensive. Yeah. I thought that was a really good ad for Andrew Yang. I actually just saw this one. It was posted today, so that's probably why I just saw it. I love that ad. It really, because you know what? What is one of the things people say about Andrew Yang that isn't true all the time? He wants to take away your Social Security. I think it's really important for him to have an ad actually affirming, no, the freedom dividend will stack with your Social Security. I'm not replacing it. I'm not taking it away from you. Because
also,
that
ideally,
isn't an attack about, he's taking your Social Security away. I think an ad saying that isn't what's happening is important.
Well, yeah, and also Social Security is a little bit of a different hybrid. Even though, yes, you're receiving more than you actually did pay into it, there is this concept of having paid into the Social Security mechanism. Therefore, it's like a disbursement to you. It's not like standard welfare. Like, we're interested in UBI shrinking the welfare state. We're not interested in shrinking programs that people have actually paid into. So I definitely think that was good in the sense that it was short. And it did address that issue that is a common concern.
They're all short.
However,
They're commercials.
I got to tell you, I'm okay with all the seniors working because they're probably doing a better job than their millennial counterparts, especially in barbering and in.
Oh my God.
Actually, what's wild is, dude, in my industry, we were pulling so many people out of retirement and offering them jobs because, especially in the trades, there hasn't been people who've actually gone and gotten trained in carpentry, gotten trained in welding, gotten trained in this and that. And for big projects, especially on a lot of the big new home builds down in Beverly Hills and stuff like that, you show up on site and it is like 20 dudes in their 60s and 70s going to town.
Would you say then? Pretty good ad for Yang? I thought that was a
good
ad.
No, I think it was good. Now, I'm just jesting when I say I want the old people to work.
Do you want to do like a thumbs up, thumbs down for these? So because
that was definitely a thumbs up.
I'll do thumbs up for Yang on this.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember this because you were a little bit young.
I wasn't.
Well, yeah. No, you're a little bit younger than me. I remember I knew the reality of the financial crash. I knew the financial crash was real.
I was in high school. I wasn't.
Yeah, but high schoolers are stupid.
People I went to school with had to stop going to school because their house got foreclosed on and they left.
No, I get that.
I was alive when it happened.
But
I wasn't 5.
This was the thing where I realized it was real. Pre-2008, you never saw old people in our retail stores working as cashiers. That was always a young kid job. You never saw old people working at Magic Mountain. You never saw old people in these entry-level positions. It was always the young kids, and it was an entry-level job, and that's what you did. When you went to the retail store, there was some young punks there.
We got like 4 more of these to get through.
When I started seeing old people, that was in my mind where I was like, holy crap, this is real. Like, it really is that bad.
So, I thought it was a good message for Yang. Really good to have a sweet ad just saying, I'm not replacing your Social Security. I'm not taking your Social Security. Those are lies. So, anyway, we got to fly through these now. Next one coming up.
I don't like his watch. Bad commercial already.
I actually do like that watch. So, anyway, Mr. Steyer, this is called The Case.
President is better than the criminal in the White House. We all have progressive plans to address the big challenges facing our country. What makes me different is I've been working for 10 years outside of Washington to end the corporate takeover of our democracy and to return power to the American people. I started Need to Impeach to hold this lawless president accountable. I'm proposing big reforms like term limits, a national referendum, and ending corporate money in politics. As president, I'll declare climate change an emergency on day 1 and use those powers to finally address the climate crisis. And I've spent 30 years building a successful international business, so I can take on Donald Trump on the economy and beat him. I'm Tom Steyer, and I approve this message because there is nothing more powerful than the unified voice of the American people.
Do I get about $5 now?
I got bad. Here's the thing. I'm not quite a Steyer guy, but I don't mind Tom Steyer. I think he's actually.
He seems nicer on the stage now than he does in his interviews.
He comes across way more personable and interesting. It's bad news when I'm like wondering myself, I'm like, is this like a 3-minute commercial or something? This is going on forever and it's a minute long. It was just dry, boring. Again, Andrew Yang commercial I played. I just pulled the most recent, so it was longer, but it felt this was a pretty brutal one. So I don't know. I was not a fan of this Tom Steyer one. He messaged a lot of his stuff. The one thing I thought was hilarious when he said that he said like I'm for getting corporate money out of. I'm like, aren't you literally the definition of corporate money in politics? A corporate billionaire using his own money to help buoy his presidential campaign? Like, in what world is Tom Steyer? Which again, I want to show you guys that Tom Steyer is he's the green line, which kept this going the whole time. He's spending some of his own money, millions of his own corporate money, money he came because he's a corporate billionaire. I believe he's owns like companies, but Point being is a independently wealthy billionaire running for president using his own money to shove ads in front of your face, then saying, look, I'm for getting this big money out of politics. I'm sorry. I actually kind of like Tom Steyer a little bit. That strikes me so ridiculously disingenuous. It's like, dude, you are what it looks like. You're just a billionaire using your own. And I get it's different. He's not a corporation. I understand that. That's the little. I'm kind of jest. It's a bit of a joke. Literally, of course, him being independently wealthy is not the same as, ExxonMobil donating money. I get that. But I'm just saying, it's like the logical end of this is people just becoming rich in the private sector and then just going into the public sector. Like, just funding their own elections because they're independently wealthy, I think is kind of also a problem, right? Like, I'm not happy that Michael Bloomberg's running. You can say, oh, Michael Bloomberg has no corporate donors because he didn't take any money. It's like, but he's worth $55 billion. Yeah. How could anyone buy Michael Bloomberg anyway? It's crazy.
Yeah. Second commercial for me, just it felt like everything was purchased. And I'm not just saying that going into it, but like the only time he actually had lots of people on screen with him was when he was giving that conference, and he could have been at that conference for myriad reasons. When you watch a Bernie Sanders or an Andrew Yang or even an Elizabeth Warren, you see these big rallies, like you actually see that they got big followings. But he was never on screen with more than 2 or 3 people. And it's like, dude, I could get 2 or 3 Craigslist actors who want $250 for a day of acting in a Tom Steyer commercial.
Michael Bloomberg's been accused of that. But speaking of, though, I want to show you, I got a Bernie Sanders ad.
Okay.
First of all,
that's really great lighting, by the way, on that Bernie Sanders ad. Whoever did that knows their lighting.
Maybe Bernie knew what he was doing. Remember, these are in-house ads produced after the Bernie Sanders campaign shunned their former
He's a little bit blown out there, but that first one I really liked. It softened him.
It's like a free serve. Anyway, this is called Billion. It's called. I didn't even look. This one's called Billionaires by Bernie Sanders.
Billionaires.
The campaign contributions of the wealthy and the powerful don't have an impact. Why do you think these CEOs are making contributions? When you make those contributions, you're first in line to get your concerns taken care of. I believe in democracy, not billionaires owning the system. Our campaign is funded by the working people of this country. We need to take on all of the corporate elite. We need a government that works for
that's
working
real
families,
footage,
not just big campaign contributors. I'm Bernie Sanders.
Now the sound on this is horrible.
Well, I mean, sorry, I just want
like who recorded Bernie in the echo chamber, but I'm just glad to hear him saying his message against billionaires not yelling.
Yeah. Well, no, but a couple things stood out.
Somebody gave Bernie a Xanax and said, "We're just going to record you normally."
Honestly, he yells very rarely. He mostly yells when he's speaking outdoors to groups of people, which is not that weird. But no, what I thought was interesting though is again, like I was talking about this with some other people about Bernie, where I think like I said, I don't know if Bernie will be elected president, but he's kind of like won in a lot of ways already because a lot of what Bernie Sanders spent years trying to make mainstream are mainstream now. With Andrew Yang,
it's pure evil.
Maybe I wasn't listening as much, but that line of these giant corporations paid zero in federal taxes being repeated. It was always something that would come up every now and then. They don't pay enough in taxes, this and this, but Amazon paid $0 in federal taxes is not just something Andrew Yang says. Is something everyone says now. Again, can't give him credit for it because one of those things where it is shocking.
Well, didn't he say by the end of this, I'll either win or everybody's going to sound like me?
Whoever does win will sound like me.
Whoever does win will sound like me.
Again, I mean, that is part of like when you find something that's true and kind of baloney and right like that, I agree. Yes, if that is the numbers, I can't see anybody running for president not bringing that up. Overall, I will say, I thought it was interesting Bernie going to go in-house instead of using his former ads, but I'll give him a thumbs up. That was a pretty good ad. If I was sitting at home and that came on my TV screen and I had to see it, it wouldn't be like the Steyer ad where I would be like rolling my eyes like, get me out of here.
Yeah, I'm going to make that DIY sound treatments room too and send it over to their video guy. So next time he wants to record Bernie Sanders, he doesn't have to sound like he's in the bathroom taking a shower. You know what I'm saying? I'll help you out, sound guy. Okay, we'll hook you up, man.
So moving through quickly to the last few now. Next, this is Elizabeth Warren, immigration reform.
All right. I don't believe it already. She's a liar and a deeply dishonest person.
To create a rules-based system that is fair, humane, and that reflects our values. It's a big plan with a lot of pieces to it, from expanding legal immigration and creating a fair and achievable path to citizenship to ending the hatred and ugliness and chaos at the border. And one more part to the plan. For anyone who is violating the basic rights of immigrants now or in the future, understand this: a Warren administration will hold you accountable. We need big structural change in our immigration system. So I'll work with Congress to pass broad-reaching reform, but I'm also prepared to move forward with executive action if Congress refuses to act. Immigrants are our neighbors, our friends, our family. They make our country stronger and more diverse. If you want an immigration system that preserves our security, that grows our economy, and that reflects our values, then read my plan and join our fight.
One thing I'll say quickly, similarly about that one, I'll bring up similar concerns you had to the last one. Yeah, they gotta tighten up that audio. When Warren's talking in like the room there, it was a bit echoey. They could tighten that up. Not a fan of the music. It was weird.
Yeah, I was like, I'm ready for the monster to jump out of the room because the beginning of the trailer was soft, and you know it's always because of a shock that's going to come later.
And I don't know. I mean, again, it felt long. Like the Bernie Sanders one, I believe, was also a minute long. It didn't feel like it. No, it was 30 seconds. I apologize.
Warren needs to be cast.
A minute's a lot longer than 30 seconds, I guess. Holy cow, this felt like it took forever. But I was just going to say, it reminded me a lot of Elizabeth Warren because it was a lot of kind of like ideas. And then after the idea, should just go read my plan and kind of left it at that,
You know, you and I talked Star Wars for a solid hour before this podcast started. And I really think in the next Star Wars, they need to cast Elizabeth Warren as the Sith or the Darth Pocahontas.
She can't act though.
But no, but she's the only person that I believe would literally put a lightsaber through her father if it would get her political gain. Like, I am so distrustful of that deeply dishonest woman that I don't believe anything in there. And it actually almost angers me because I have friends that are illegal immigrants whose head hung under the swivel for DACA. One of them got married, so fortunately that went away. But for 12 years of their life from the time they registered, there was always that ghost, that specter in the closet, which is a very deeply disconcerting thing. And just to see somebody so dishonest that she's willing to declare false ethnicity for over a decade and accept awards on behalf of it, that's how far she's willing to take the lie. Then hugging people that I have actually helped try and get their citizenship and helped and wrote letters on behalf of when they're going to appear in front of the judges and so on and so forth. Just to see her hugging for the cameras, it makes my blood boil. I cannot look like I am so biased. I'm not a good person to ask about Elizabeth Warren things because of her deep, deep dishonesty. I don't have that reaction, by the way, just to show you that I'm intellectually honest here and self-regulating. I don't get that when I watch Bernie Sanders.
No, yeah,
because Bernie Sanders is at least honest.
I more or less always believe him when he's talking.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe that mofo when he goes out there, he says, we're going to get these immigrants in here. We're fighting for them. You know what I'm saying? And stuff. I'm like, oh, well, there's pictures of you getting arrested. Like, you are completely psychotic, but you are honest in your psychosis. Like, she is dishonest in her psychosis, and I want nothing to do with her. And it angers me when I see this crap.
Okay. I mean,
that's it. That's all I got.
I have a feeling.
So are we still giving thumbs up, thumbs down? Because
yes.
I want to get I want to see if I can get my feet in this, dude.
Okay.
Like two.
But that seemed more like
thumbs down.
But that's just a straight indictment on Warren. I thought the ad was slow. So one more. I saved the best for last.
Okay.
Of course, this is the longest of the bunch as well.
Oh,
but
get out.
We can't do a video on political ads. We've got 19 minutes, and I haven't.
But who did he hire to get in his campaign ads in a week?
I'll tell you, I never mind. Without further ado, here we go. This is Mikey Boy, How We Will Win, Mike Bloomberg 20.
Is that the bucket list, Mom?
Remember 2016?
Do you want that to happen again?
I want progress. I want hope.
Hey, Democrats. It's time to pay attention.
We need to wake up. In Michigan, the only one campaigning here is Donald Trump.
As a Pennsylvania, I understand there's a caucus in Iowa, but what about here?
Trump is running unopposed in every state that will actually decide the general election.
All this effort and all this money, and none of it goes to help the one election that really matters.
By the looks of it, he's trying to win Pennsylvania once again. He's here all the time.
Here, Trump is actually winning.
We need the Democrats in Michigan, too.
Here in Arizona, too.
And here too in Colorado.
And in Pennsylvania.
Wisconsin. And Texas, too.
Rebuilding America starts today.
And all of us need to be heard.
If we include all of America, we will win.
We can't afford to wait to start campaigning in the rest of the country. It's time to think bigger and act bolder.
We need a president for all of us.
All of us.
All of us.
We need a candidate who has the strength to rival and defeat Trump.
Wherever you are, whoever you are, you matter in this process.
We're asking you to believe with us.
It is possible.
It is possible.
It is possible. This is how we win.
Join us at MikeBloomberg.com.
I gotta say, that is 2 thumbs up.
That is powerful.
1 second though, what scares me about that?
Oh,
By
is
the
it
way-
so true?
No. Totally unrelated note, by the way. Totally unrelated. It's got nothing to do with this. Michael Bloomberg isn't running in any of the early states because he joined the race too late. So just totally unrelated 2-minute long commercial where he basically talks about how the early states he isn't running in don't matter. Just saying, right?
Oh, but he totally turned that to his advantage
but
and
that
gave
was-
an emotionally charged argument.
So, I mean, that was a very expensive ad. That was not cheap. That was not a cheap production. It was like almost 2 minutes long. Holy cow.
No, but that was
But
good.
no, exactly. I can't
I'm
knock
sorry,
the
that
quality.
tops
Can't knock
Andrew
the quality.
Yang's.
Oh, that was an amazing ad. It's worth. I mean, you know what? That
I almost want a copy of that ad. That is intense.
that was a very. Well, yeah, it's on YouTube, man. I got a link in the description.
I don't even think that was royalty-free music, bro.
But
like-
paid for it. Whatever. We'll find out. It's political ad. But
They hired an.
it's original. He got someone to compose an original song.
I mean, that was foreboding, dude. That whole strain. It was
Well, I
like
mean,
the
yeah.
shepherd's tone in what was the movie about the crossing of the English Channel by the flotilla that just came out? Christopher Nolan directed it. It used the shepherd's tone a lot. There wasn't a lot of acting in it. You found out the French guy was actually.
Oh, you mean there was a movie with Christopher Nolan with just sounds in it? Oh.
Oh, come on. It was a recent one about World War II.
Dunkirk?
Dunkirk.
Is that what it's
There we
called?
are. Yeah.
I don't think it is it?
Yeah, no, it was called Dunkirk. That was like the shepherd's tone, the foreboding shepherd's tone in Dunkirk. You know what the shepherd's tone is, right?
Yeah, but no, give one second. Because the message of it was a little interesting. I just want to get back to it for one more second. The message of that ad was very interesting. It was the idea of we have to, Democrats, it was like just a broad shot of Democrats as like a party. Like, we got to stop focusing on what are historically the early voting states that are focused on at the beginning of the cycle and start focusing on the whole country. It's like, but this is the primary. This isn't the general. No one's running against Trump yet. They're running against each other, which, by the way, is one of the reasons why it's important to have really good leadership to make sure you don't have a bunch of people running each other. But anyway, that's what's going on. So I think it was interesting seeing an ad from Michael Bloomberg kind of calling out the idea that why are people, like, if the Democrats are only going to be in 3 or 4 states and Donald Trump's in all of them, how does that help the Democrats? It's a good message. It's weird from a candidate running because, like, well, I mean, I don't know, but I just wanted to make sure we mentioned that because that is an interesting message he's getting across.
Well, also, something just popped in my mind right now. For as much as you see Elizabeth Warren and Pete Buttigieg and all of these front runners right now saying that we need to abolish the Electoral College, I see far less of a problem with the Electoral College. In fact, it's a buffer against mobocracy than I do with having a rigged primary system in which the 3 whitest states set the tone for the way an election's going to go. I mean, if you want to talk about kind of, I don't think that the founding fathers anticipated this really weird hybrid of Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada choosing everything.
But they don't. I mean, historically, people have won Iowa and it got blown out. So it's not like it chooses.
You know, it's true. However, it's
draws
developed
a
a
lot of
culture.
It draws a lot of focus early on.
It's developed a culture that I do not think the founding fathers, actually, I know the founding fathers didn't intend. They wanted election day to be election day, not this weird cycle where everybody cares about Iowa. Okay.
I agree.
You know, and so if you were to actually point into our elections and say, look, there's unfairness here that is against the spirit of the Constitution, I, as an alien from space, would have a much bigger problem with the culture that's developed around this Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina triad than I would about the Electoral College.
Okay, so hold on. One last thing before we wrap then.
Okay.
Does that mean you're on old Mikey Boy Bloomberg side? You think he's righteous in this instance?
Dude, Michael Bloomberg, I admit my bias. I am influenced by media. Therefore, I surround myself by media that only approves my worldview.
There we go. It's a secret.
I'm just kidding.
That's the path.
But this is the way. Yeah. I have spoken.
The path to enlightenment right there.
That is a path to enlightenment right there. But no, that was powerful. And I think it creates a very, very strong argument, if not as just a scathing indictment of the way these other campaigns have been doing business. And you know what? Donald Trump's got a primary too, but I got to tell you, Democrats don't seem like they're in it to win it if Michael Bloomberg can make indictments like this.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
It's a good point. I think maybe
it's a good point.
You would maybe instead of seeing someone like Kamala Harris having to fail at restructuring her entire campaign to focus only on Iowa, maybe more of these candidates should have the confidence to say Iowa's not the whole country. I can kind of punt the state and focus elsewhere, which I think some candidates are. So interesting message. That's all I got today, though. Went way longer on this topic than I meant on. Yeah. I just wanted to show you guys because the money's being spent. It's over the holidays. You guys are probably going to be forced to see these, so I apologize. But at least you'll have a little bit of prep ahead of time, what you're getting in for. But this is what's going on right now. The money is coming in on these ads, and every single one of these ads I pull up to show you guys, I think have been put on YouTube by the official campaigns in the last week or so, 3 or 4 days. They come out with new ones like crazy. Michael Bloomberg, who had the longest and the most well-produced and expensive ad, as I showed you, is mostly because he's spending all of the money in the world on it. I mean, it is literally what happens when a guy worth $54 billion runs for president. He can just jam up your television. I mean, like I said, the craziest thing to me was when I was walking down the street in Los Angeles and I'm at a street corner and I cannot escape from Michael Bloomberg ads out in the street because a taxi drives by me playing a Michael Bloomberg ad. So that's all I got going in because, we're going into the kind of the next few days of Christmas and everything. So I'm assuming they expect people to be watching television and they'll be running ads. So
this is Problem Solver Politics. We'll see you in the next video.